throw it. Intercepted. Intercepted by Bachie at the 41. Isaac is stripped.
Joe Bachie rips it out of Ty Isaac's arms.
Spartans showing pressure. They bring it in a point. Spun down and hit behind the line for the third time. That's Joe Bachie.
Michigan State linebacker Joe Bachie had himself a day. 10 tackles, 6 solo, and the defensive trifecta with a sack, INT, and forced fumble in the Spartans' win over Michigan. The MSU linebacker named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week is kind enough to join us from East Lansing. All right, Joe, let's start with that win over Michigan and the fact that the Wolverines, for some reason, refuse to acknowledge you guys as a rival. Does that fuel the fire that I know is already inside your team when you get ready for this game each year?
Yeah, you know, our fuel is already going, you know, throughout the week. And to hear something like that, you know, just adds to it. And we had enough motivation going into the game. We knew what was at stake. And we just tried going 1-0 that week, and that's something that we succeeded at.
Obviously, you can't circle games on the calendar, as the saying goes, because you have to play them as they arrive. But is there a way to describe what this game feels like, how it's different, what separates it from other matchups?
You know, just the Michigan State game. You know, there's a lot at stake, like I said. You know, from the past, to the future, to the present. It's a game that you want to win for Spartan Nation. It was a great feeling.
It was an absolute mess out there, Joe. The fans that were in attendance were soaked. People that were watching at home were thinking to themselves, I'm glad I'm on my couch watching on my big screen in my climate-controlled environment. But for a defensive player, was that atmosphere and those conditions an absolute dream?
Oh, I loved it. You know, I knew they were going to run the ball. And in conditions like that, you know, it just makes it that much better, that much more fun to run around. And, you know, our defense did a great job, you know, bringing it every time we went on the field. And, you know, that excites me.
Joe, what's different? The personnel is largely the same, but this defense struggled a little bit last year, and now you've been so good through the early half of this season. Can you put your finger on why?
You know, young guys are growing up. Chris Fry being the only senior, really, that's out there starting. He's done a great job leading us. And we got a bunch of other guys stepping up. You know, our D-line's stepping up. As you can see, our DBs are stepping up. I'm excited for their future. And it's just fun out there, man. We have great chemistry, and it's just awesome to be out there with those guys.
I think chemistry is such an appropriate word because we wondered aloud, Joe, after what this program went through in the offseason with the controversy, with so many departures from the roster, whether that would bring the team together or whether it would splinter the locker room. It's clearly done the former. How have you guys made that happen?
We talked about persevering a lot. A lot of player-only meetings, you know, talking about what we have to do to move forward. And that's something Coach D always preaches to. We got to move forward. We got to move in the right direction. And during the Michigan week, we talked about being the rock, and that's something that we talked about in the offseason too. You got to be the rock, and you got to move forward with it, and just bring each other together. And I believe our offseason was great for us.
So as you move forward, next on the schedule, Minnesota, and a need to refocus after that big win. When you watch what Minnesota provides from an offensive standpoint on tape, what do you see?
They're going to try and get our eyes a lot, you know, a lot of jet motions, but they're going to run the ball. They're a team that preaches running. That's something that their head coach believes in. And as a defense, our #1 job is to stop the run. It's that way every week, and that's what we're priding ourselves on again this week.
Lastly, Joe, I think the win over Michigan and the way that you guys have started this year changed a lot of outside expectations about what 2017 can be for your team. What are your expectations today, and do they differ at all from where they were at the beginning of the year?
No, we talked about dreaming big, and that's something that we've done all offseason. Every week we've talked about it, and last week was just another confidence booster, you know, to get us going in the right direction. And we saw what we can do, and we're moving forward now. We're going to try 1-0 again this week.
Michigan State on the road at Minnesota. That's a primetime game. You can see it right here on BTN. Michigan State linebacker Joe Bachie, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Joe, we truly appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend against the Gophers.
Yes, thank you.